sudden loss of the signal. Um, Back to what we we're talking about in the previous video. I'm sorry for the interruption. When the frontal lobe inhibition during your REM sleep is lost, your inner brain, your limbic brain, your deeper brain is active, and that's why you dream about the wishes, the desires that was hidden inside you when you are awake. So that's why they say that the the normal people dream of what criminals or serial killers do, that it's stored in your brain, and that's what the spectrum or the continuum among us, I'm telling you, it is quantitative, not qualitative. So calm down when you are very harsh or judgmental on other people, and you have to realize that inside you may be the same or maybe even worse of what other people's you disagreed like or you hated. On that spectrum, you put yourself and you put all other people. And if you keep in mind that where you are on that spectrum was not determined, is not determined by something marvelous you've done in your life. No, it's determined by things you have no control over. That's life. If you understand that, you will be happier, you will be more realistic in your expectations, you will be less judgmental, and you will realize that the only thing that you have control over is this moment that was disrupted. And that tells us that life is unpredictable and we have to be ready for that. And we have to ready to deal with it. And I have to find out why the videos are disrupted like this. There's something in the iPad or something in the internet. It may happen again, by the way. So let's finish this very quickly because it might happen again and I have no control over it. So what you do, you get disappointed, you fall into despair, and you say, oh, it's my bad luck. No, this is part of life. That bad things happen, unpredictable things happen, and we don't know why. And you determine the meaning for that. So if you want to determine that these bad events happen is because of your bad luck or because you're a bad person or because this is a punishment for what happened to you in the past, that's the meaning you will find. If you will take this as a matter of fact, as a matter of part of life, that's the nature of life. Unpredictability is part of the nature of life, and you have to accept it as it is. And we do our best for this moment. So we finish this video as quickly as we can, as efficient as we can before something unpredictable could happen. That's an example of life. And by the way, I did not make it like that. I did not do this intentionally. It just came up like this. And I live all my life, and I want you to live all your lives. If you want to change your unexpected or this high expectations of life, especially if it was predetermined and it was inserted in you since you were a child, certain ideas that we grow up with might not be the right ideas. And what was told to us as children, especially in the first 3 years of life, or 5 years of life, or 10 years of life, it stays there, it's stuck in our brain. And we need to start every day a process of cleaning those predetermined ideas, and you live your moment as a clean slate every time. So this process of rejuvenation every day about that, you know what, my ideas might be wrong, including my ideas about myself, my ideas about others, my ideas about the universe. It might be wrong. And I will do my best. Yes, fight the default. Yes, fight the default. Always start again. Always start. Your ideas about yourself and others might be wrong. You wake up in the morning and you say that. What was inserted in your head when you were a child might be wrong. You reassess it every day. You reassess it based on evidence. Based on the evidence today at this moment, the general outlines of the life we live in is sometimes life has no meaning and we have to find the meaning ourselves. What's of the meaning of somebody have an accident and becoming paraplegic? What's the meaning of somebody suddenly winning the lottery and becoming a multimillionaire? What did they do? What did this man do? What did this person do? What's the meaning of somebody end up in a disaster in their lives? What if somebody of getting what's the meaning of getting a child who's disabled? What's the meaning of the loss? What's the meaning of the fear that we have in life? What's the meaning that one person will have COVID, the other person will have COVID, and this one survives and this one dies? These things, in general, you can find your own meaning in that, but my advice is that when you try to find a meaning, be fair when you try to find the meaning, and realize that a lot of things happen in life just by chance. It's really by chance. It hit you and you don't know why. And you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for the next hit. It might happen. But this does not mean you need to live in despair, afraid of what the next moment will carry to you. No, you need the solution for this unpredictability of life is to live this moment to the fullest. Is to live this moment to the fullest, is try to get the best outcome out of this video right now that I'm talking to you before the iPad does it again on me and the video disappears. You try to get the best. That's how it is. One of the problems that people suffer in life is because they live their lives oscillating like a pendulum between the past and the future. Don't oscillate between the past, regretting the past, and fearing the future. Many of us live our lives between the past, regretting it, dwelling about it, and being afraid of what will happen in the future. What do you forget when you do that? You forget a moment that's peaceful, or as peaceful as it can be, that you can live and enjoy and do the best. Do the best now, right now, in that interaction between you and me. Maybe I'll influence somebody, may will have some impact about somebody. I'm not worrying about what will happen. I'm not even worrying anymore if this video disappears. If it disappears, I will meet you next week for another video. That's how it is. That's life. The meaning of life, you find yourself in that. The meaning of failure, you find it. You determine it. You determine at this moment, what did it mean that I failed in that situation? It's bad luck. Bad luck is part of life. You're not going to have good luck all the time. Okay. So, how to be yourself all the time require a lot of effort and practice you have to do to remind yourself, okay, that about your true self as a human being with your own weakness, with your own insecurities, in that hierarchy of all the creatures. And you just were put in that spot, probably by luck. You find the meaning of that luck, and you find it, and you try to get the best out of it for yourself and the people around you. That's it. Your role in life is very limited, in a very limited time, very limited space, and you try to get the best out of it. And the world changed by people who were able to change themselves first and take that message of change and give it to somebody else, and that other person can take it to somebody else, and you can create a movement, you can create a circle around you. Yes, your role in life is very limited, but believe me, my limited role and your limited role and his limited role and her limited role and our limited role, if it adds up, we can change this universe. We can change the earth. We as humans created a civilization by small rules that were added together one day at a time, one step at a time, one project at a time, one success at a time, one small success at a time. It adds up to create a civilization. So never underestimate your limited role if you understand it and you put your effort on it. And don't be selfish, spread it to somebody else. Or let me rephrase that, be selfish and spread it to somebody else. Actually, this is healthy selfishness, because when you spread a good thing you've done to somebody else, when you help somebody else, that should make you happy. We discussed before is altruism, self-serving in nature. Altruism is actually self-serving. It serves you. Giving serves you. So be selfish and give. Be selfish and help. Be selfish and don't judge other people. Just focus on yourself and take all that negative energy on yourself. Okay? Try to improve. And if you improve and you get better, somebody will learn from you something and you spread that. And the world around us will be better. And you stop dwelling about the past, and you realize that the past is the past. As I told you before, forgive your parents and move on. Forgive your past and move on. Forgive yourself and move on. That's the past. What about the future that we worry about? The future you worry about when it comes, if you have a sense of psychological effectiveness, you will realize that when the future comes, I will be able to deal with it. I will worry about it when it comes, and I will get the best outcome possible for a human being. For a human being. For a weak, limited human being. That's what the best way to deal with life is, like that. And also, when you talk to other people, when you see other people, understand that they are struggling exactly like you, trying to survive. Survival is physical survival. We look for food, for shelter, for warmth, for life to live. Physical survival and psychological and social survival. We want to survive, we want to be loved, we want to be cared for. Then you live the moment and you live genuinely and you understand yourself. If you do that every day, you wake up in the morning, you're grateful that you're alive, you're breathing, you didn't get COVID, you're still alive, you're still smelling, enjoying life. That's it, number one. Number two, you know that your genuine self is not perfect, but that's the best thing you can deal with, is to deal with genuine self. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to look good in front of people. Don't try to appear something that's not you. Try to resist the temptation from social media to put all these masks on your face to appear better than who you are. For every phase of life, there's something you can enjoy and something you can be proud of and something you can help other people with. You're not going to be pretty all your life. You're gonna age. You're gonna have wrinkles on your face. But with these wrinkles on your face comes wisdom, comes a lot of experience. So people are trying hard to hide those wrinkles on their face and Botox injection, and you look younger. And we glorify this beauty and youth. And young kids struggle because of that. They want to look perfect. You don't have to. You don't have to be perfect. Just be who you are with all your defects, with your own insecurities. Just accept it. Accept it for who you are as a human being. The difference between us and the rest of the creatures, the squirrel who runs around me here in the backyard, is that we have a very complicated awareness. And many times I feel that the squirrel is much happier than us because the squirrel is very genuine himself or herself. Just be a squirrel, be yourself. Go run and find the food and go there. And when you find the nuts, be happy. And that's it. The squirrel doesn't care how he looks in front of people. I love to watch squirrels in the backyard and see their behavior. They have very simple awareness. Their awareness is based on survival. I need the food. I need to protect myself from anybody. I don't want anybody to eat me. I don't want anybody to hit me. I don't want to die. I want to survive. Very limited awareness of what keeps them alive, just for survival. They have the survival instinct. So when they see me coming, they look at me, see if there is a danger coming or not. And when there's no danger, they are happy. They are happy enjoying eating, jumping around, playing around, and all of that. There's a book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Why zebras don't get ulcers. Why human beings get ulcers. Because zebras, again, you see zebras in the savannas. I think Dr. Robert Sapolsky from Stanford, I encourage all of you to listen to his videos. He wrote a book about why zebras don't get stomach ulcers. Mainly because the stress that zebras are exposed to is very time limited when the lions attack them. So when the lions are coming, that's maximum stress, the maximum stress response, the fight and flight and freeze response that we all get exposed to. When there are no lions around, there's no stress for the zebras. Eating, enjoying life, the peaceful animals, till the lion comes. The difference between the zebras and human beings, that's why we get stress ulcers. It's not because we're afraid of the lions. We have lions in our heads all the time. We have perception of lions. We are threatened all the time. So the threat is not a real threat. The threat became an imaginary threat. Because I told you how wonderful the frontal lobe is and what it does to you. It also, the frontal lobe have the ability to synthesize stress. It synthesizes happiness, it synthesizes danger, it synthesizes stress. So it creates imaginary dangers that do not exist. There are no lions around, there's no tigers around who will eat you, but you're still afraid that somebody will come and attack you, even if you live in a peaceful place, or you're going to lose your job, or you're going to lose your money, or something's going to happen to you. Or this free floating fears out of nowhere that don't know. You're afraid you're gonna die, you're afraid you're gonna catch COVID. So the stress on humans, because of this complicated awareness and because of the very same prefrontal cortex that we have, we tend to imagine dangers in the absence of lions, in the absence of tigers. Nobody's gonna eat us physically, but mentally, we're still afraid that people are gonna eat us mentally. So we have to be aware of that. So our frontal cortex, our prefrontal cortex, imagines, synthesizes these fears. And you sit there thinking about it. That's why we get stomach ulcer, because with these kind of imagined stress, it's synthesized stress, like you synthesized it in your head. The stress hormones are high, the adrenaline is high, the cortisol is high, and these are toxic to your brain and toxic to your body. Of course, there are people who are exposed to real stress, real trauma, and all our traumas in our lives. The problem is, even if we were exposed to previous traumas, our brain tends to re-traumatize us all the time. Our brain tends to repeat the trauma in an imagined way. Yes, we imagine the trauma again. And sometimes this imagination of the trauma, this synthesizing of the trauma, it predisposes us to be re-traumatized again. And it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So realizing that is where the stress is the stress real or is imagined, is very important, because that's why humans have stomach ulcers and zebras don't have stomach ulcers, because of the stress that it's synthesized by our brain. It's imagined, so because we are intelligent people and because our genes are still programming our brain based on those imagined fears that our ancestors had million years ago. So your genes will tell you go and overeat because you're gonna starve to death. Although you have enough food and you ate and you have enough food in the refrigerator, you still have that urge to go and eat because your genes are afraid that you may not find food and just finish what you have, to the point of you become obese and you still want to eat more. Because your ancestors, that these genes were programmed, called genetic mismatch. Your genes are not matching 2022. Your genes are matching a million years ago or 500 years ago. Still programmed with the older version. So it's not updated. The genes don't get updated quickly. It takes millions of years to be updated. So basically, our genes, our genetic material is outdated, is not updated for this year. We're still functioning genetically at older versions from 100, 200, 300, a million years ago, 100,000 years ago. So that's how we function. That's why these fears are still in us. And although we don't have lions around us, no animals is going to eat us, but we still have this imagined fear that something bad is going to happen to us. Yes, civilization developed faster than our genes. Our genes are still functioning about the past, based on the past experiences. But our genes, we developed our frontal cortex, and that frontal cortex is what created the civilization. Because the frontal cortex did two things. The prefrontal cortex, the higher cortical functions, has two functions. Number one, inhibitory functions. So we became civilized human beings instead of the animals. So we became more civilized. That's at the social level, right? So we don't, you see people, and it differs from society to society how much civilized, how civilized the people are. So number one is the ability to inhibit your desires, inhibit your impulses, so you behave socially, you behave appropriately. Number one. Number two, the prefrontal cortex have the capacity to synthesize emotions and thoughts. That's why we created a civilization. So you're able to create new ideas, new thoughts, and able to communicate and able to talk about it. So the inhibitory function of the prefrontal cortex and the synthesizing function of the prefrontal cortex is why we created civilization. But at the expense of that came this imagined stress that your prefrontal cortex is able to create. Still there. It can scare you. You can sit there and you can imagine a situation that will never happen. If you see people with anxiety, people with obsessive compulsive disorder, patients with post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of psychiatric disorder that's related to depression, anxiety, and all of that, or even psychotic disorders, there's a lot of imagination. Where is that coming from? Coming from a very creative prefrontal cortex, or coming from stored ideas in your deeper brain, in your limbic brain, that the prefrontal cortex is not able to inhibit. And that's where the pathology comes from. So sometimes the two functions of the prefrontal cortex, the inhibitory function that I told you, it is lost in your REM sleep, and also the synthesizing function, the ability to synthesize thoughts and emotions, the executive functions, all of that. Sometimes it's distorted. When it is distorted, on the circuitry between the three brains that we have is distorted, we suffer a lot. So do we have any control over that? Very limited control. It's not under your control. These things, it's running there inside your head. determined by your genes, determined by your mom and dad and uncle and aunt and what happened to you as a child and all the traumatic experiences you had as a child and all the traumatic experiences you had after that, and all the successes and failure, and your coping skills, the ability to deal with success and failure. You have no control over it. So calm down, and realize that you're human. You're an insecure human, that the zebra might be luckier than you because the zebras, the stress, they don't have this ability to imagine. The zebra detects the lion, stay away from the lion. If the lion comes, runs away. That's it. If there are no lions, enjoy your life. So be a zebra. Be a zebra. Shut down your excessive imagination. That's it. Lower your expectations. Live your life one day at a time, one moment at a time. Today, this moment. Try to get the best out of it. And when you do that, next moment you do the same thing. When things go wrong, you try to deal with it as part of life. That's how it is. One moment at a time, one day at a time. Okay? And when the video stops, you just have another video like I did today. When something goes wrong, you realize that you don't panic. You realize that that's part of life, and you just make another video and see what's going on. That's life. And also, don't compare yourself with others. Stop asking yourself, why is this happening to me? It's happening to everybody to varying degrees. Random. It's a random randomness. It's a random. It's just something, somebody will hit by the virus, somebody will not, somebody will die from the virus, somebody will not. You try to find the meaning in that, find the meaning. But I want you to find the meaning, not other people to impose the meanings on you. Yes. Yes, accept the randomness of life. The meaning you find is your ability to deal with this randomness, to deal with this unpredictability. Just deal with it. When it happens, you deal with it. You will calm down when you do that. Not in a perfect manner. Perfectionism, you need to get rid of it. Get rid of perfectionism. Just be a human being. Do your best. Be genuine and do your best. Perfectionism is a layer that covers a lot of things underneath it. Fear of failure, sense of insecurity, narcissism, desire to look better than who you are. Just be genuine. Perfectly imperfect, that's fine. Just be who you are. Be genuine, true self, and live the moment. Yes. Thanks for the people who write these ideas. And ideas have meanings, and it's not the word. So when you say life is unfair and unpredictable, that's a general idea that you need to find the meaning that belongs to you. You need to find the meaning. You, not other people, not what people told you as a child, not what the culture says, not what everybody, this herd mentality that we think like everybody else think. No, individualism. Be yourself. Be yourself. And have the courage to be yourself. And don't follow the herd mentality. Everybody put a mask and filter on Instagram. So I need to know, just put your picture. Just try to be as beautiful as you can, as good as you can. Don't cover it with a layer to appear better than who you are. Just be yourself. Don't try to look good in front of people. You lose the genuineness of the moment. When you go eat, just eat. Don't take the picture before you eat to show people what you're eating. Doing something, just do it. When you write something on Facebook, just write it. Don't write it in a way to get a lot of likes and a lot of shares and a lot of that. Just be genuine, be who you are. If all your attention and about how the people will see you and how popular you will be and all of that, you'll be miserable at the end. Don't forget to be yourself. And if you're not yourself, remind yourself. Just tell yourself, I need to be genuine. Or, we talked about a spectrum, I need to move towards genuineness and avoid this fake life. You can't say either or. You can't say there are fake people and genuine people. No, we all struggle, we all try. So you need to go from the fake end to the genuine end, the true self end, and try to do that. And create your own meaning, create your own moment, create your own success, so you don't get frustrated. And understand the overall concepts of who you are, how your mind works, your limitations, human limitations, and then build on it and try to get the best out of it in a limited world, in a limited brain, in a limited abilities. Try to get that. We have an ability that we work on and try to get as close to the best as possible. When you fail, you know that it's part of life. We said that, unpredictable. And don't expect the outcome. If you do good thing, you're gonna get good results. Not necessarily. You may not. They say no good deeds go unpunished. These rules that you put, if you do good things, something bad is gonna happen to you. No, you do good thing because you deserve to do good thing. Because you respect yourself. That's it. Not you expect something good, you expect something. That's it. You do something because you know that it is the right thing to do at this moment, at this day and age, for you as a human being. Whatever genetic makeup you have, you just do it. If the perception of others is different, it's fine. Try to correct it. I'm not saying intentionally get rejected by people, but don't let the people's opinion on you determine everything about who you are. So you have an internal locus of control where your psychological weight comes to a great extent from within, not from without. We all need other people. But if your self-esteem and self-confidence is dependent solely on others, or 90% of your confidence and self-satisfaction is coming from others, you're in trouble. You need to have a balance. You need to get the majority of your self-acceptance from within, not from without. That's the key to becoming a happy, satisfied human being on life. With a lot of problems you have faced and you will face. That's the philosophy, whatever you call it, philosophy, way of living. Yeah, you determine. You take these ideas and you create your own world, internal world, your internal world inside your head, and try to get the best out of it. And you can modify it, you can customize it the way you want. But be realistic and be truthful, and don't deceive yourself. And don't deceive yourself by cultural stuff that's full, this cultural deception that the culture impose on us certain things about the norms of happiness, about the norms of success. No. Accept yourself for who you are and find beauty in every aspect of your life and every phase of your life. If you're getting old, it's fine. We're all getting old. You don't have to appear much younger than you are so people will accept you. Just appear as you are. There is beauty you find in yourself in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s. You're going to find some beauty in it. But that beauty comes out from within you. It's not dependent on the look. It's not dependent on what you have. It's not dependent on what you own. It's the effect, the psychological effectiveness is what determines your beauty. How psychologically effective you are in controlling your life and controlling and helping other people's lives around you. That's what it is. Psychological effectiveness, that you are able to cope with life and deal with it and being effective in what you're doing. That's by itself a beauty. That's a success. It doesn't matter. You're capable, you're trying, your psychological resilience. When things go wrong, you are the rock for other people. That should make you happy. That should make you beautiful. The fact that you have some impact, some positive impact on others, the fact that you're learning, the fact that you're getting better at things, the fact that you're still alive, all these things are signs of beauty inside you. And be proud of yourself with these small successes that you do. So, just to conclude, small successes, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Life is unfair and unpredictable. Accept it as it is. You find the meaning yourself. You forgive your parents and you move on. You forgive your past. You forgive yourself and move on. And when things go wrong, tomorrow, the next moment, you start all over again and you correct it. And you have to realize that your life is not under your full control. It's determined by things you have no control over it. And you come to life when you're an adult with all this baggage from the past, and you have to clean it up. You did not put it yourself, it was imposed on you. And every day you start this process of cleaning, and cleaning means your perception of yourself has to be reassessed every day. Your perception of others have to be reassessed every day, and your perception of life have to be reassessed every day. Try to get the best outcome for you as a human being, like anybody else. Sorry for the interruption of the video today. Life is unpredictable, and I wish you all the best. And please share the video if you like it, and talk about it to other people. Maybe we can start some movement of people understanding themselves better and changing their lives to the better, and maybe helping other people also to change their lives to the better. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye bye.